Hey everybody, this is Charlie Dobbins, and this is lesson number 4 in the masterclass tutorial. Now let's kind of give a walkthrough as to where we are in the process. Remember, the first tutorial was one that we did I showed you how to find deals on the internet. The next tutorial had to do was with your elevator speech, knowing what to say when the brokers called you up. All right. And then the third element of the program was in identifying exactly what it is, what type of properties you're looking for, and how to evaluate the property packages when they come into you. All right. This lesson, I can honestly tell you, in my personal professional opinion, is the most important lesson possible. And it is the most fun for me to teach. You will learn so much from this particular lesson. This lesson is how to understand financial statements for multifamily properties better than your accountant. Now let me tell you something, folks. You may think to yourself, oh no, my accountant, oh, he walks on water. No, I got an accountant. As a matter of fact, he's right in that room right next door. But when it comes to understanding multifamily deals, he is great at accounting for them, but he's not great at understanding what the numbers mean in telling the story. And that is what I want you to understand. And that is what we are going to focus on for the next lesson. Now, this is my most favorite lesson. I'm going to teach you so much during this process. You are going to need notes. You are going to need to come back to these videos over and over again. And remember, if you drop out of the master class, you're not going to have access to this. But the thing is, if you do have access to this, you will be coming back to this nonstop because there's so much information in this particular program. Okay, so let me tell you how this particular class is broken down. I've broken this down into 4 sections. That's how long this class is going to be. I've had to break it down into 4 categories. First category is this particular introduction, where I'm going to talk to you about why you don't need to worry about accounting, why I am going to explain it to you so that you totally get it. All right, that's lesson 1, or introduction. Then I'm going to talk to you about income. Just income. And it's important that you understand how the accountants account for income. And essentially what they do is they break it down into 3 categories. They break it down into the income, the cash coming in. Then they have a whole entire category for income reducing factors like vacancy. I'll explain more of that in the income section. And then there's the other income section. And what I do is then I break that other income section down into 2 categories: good income and bad income. Bad income? What's bad income? Trust me, I'll explain it to you in the income section. All right? Then the third category are expenses. Now this is where I start to get into rules of thumb. See, the thing is, I can teach you right away that if you're looking at a multifamily deal and you just look at the financial statement, within 2 seconds, you will know, based upon the rules of thumb and the expense ratio, whether that property is a real deal or it's bogus. Okay? And that's the expense section. Now, the 4th category is what I call the power of the cap rate. Now, this is where I bring it all together for you, and I make you understand exactly what these numbers mean and how powerful they are in the multifamily world. All right? Now, if you are coming to this video afraid of numbers, afraid of accounting, let me just stop you right there. And let me ask you something. What does your accountant know as far as math goes that you haven't mastered already? Addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. That's all the guy needs to know. But for some reason, people put these accountants on pedestals like they're great, soothsayers. And the fact is that they have no greater mathematical ability than a third grader. So why do we give accountants such a huge step up? And this may sound crazy, but think about this for a second. Accountants account for things better than we do. What does that mean? Here's what I mean by that. It's the categories that they put the dollars in that tell the story. That's it. That's all they do, is they know exactly how to account for the numbers. Now, you may think that sounds crazy, but when we're done this particular lesson, for those of you people that are watching this and your eyes glaze over when it comes to numbers, fine, I understand. But if you're also the type of person that loves watching Downton Abbey, okay, you know what? You're going to love this video, because this has got more to do with telling the story, a narrative, than it does having to do with numbers. All right, so that is my whole entire goal, is to get you to understand that what we're talking about here is a story, and I want you to understand that story. See, what happens is with most of these multifamily properties is some little old lady who's worked there for 20 years walks up to the door every single morning and sticks her key in the door, opens it up, and the business begins. And you have no idea what kind of business that is. And what I'm going to teach you is that just by looking at the financial statements, you will know exactly what type of business that is. You will know what a day in the life of that little old lady is like just by looking at the financials. You may think that sounds crazy, but let me put it to you in a different context. Now, for some of you out there, you may be pilots. I know there are always a lot of pilots in these real estate classes. But for those of you that aren't, that's okay. I am a wannabe pilot. I'd love to be a pilot, but I never had the opportunity. So here's the thing about being a pilot. There are typically two types of pilots. Well, I'm going to show my ignorance here about this, but there's VFR and there's IFR, visual flight rules and instrument flight rules. Visual flight rules are those people, I think, at the highest level of knowledge, or lowest level of knowledge, where you can only fly visually. If it's too cloudy, if it's rainy out, you're not allowed to go out. You can just get out there with your eyes and see the horizon, and you are able to fly under those rules. Now, that's a typical new investor. They go out and they look at a property. They want to see the property. They want to see what it looks like. They want to walk the hallways. They want to go in the apartments. They want to know exactly what goes on there. Well, I'll tell you something. That's a VFR. That's the lowest level there is. Now, an IFR, instrument flight rules pilot, is someone that can put a shade over their eyes, never even look at the horizon, look only at the instruments on the panel, and they can take you up and land you at the same airport. I'll tell you, I was flying one time from Nantucket to Hyannis in one of those little 8-seater Beechcraft planes that Cape Air flies. And I was sitting in the jump seat, which is a seat right next to the pilot. I always go for that seat. It's the most fun. And so this particular pilot is an IFR rated pilot. I mean, I guess he has to be to fly people. So he's up there, and it is absolutely pea soup. You cannot see a thing. As soon as we go up into the clouds, it's all white. You cannot see anything in front of you. And this guy is sitting there at the controls with like a notepad of sorts strapped to his leg, and he's constantly fidgeting with the dials and looking at his notepad, and he's never seeing anything out there. And all of a sudden, when we should be approaching our airport, he starts to descend, and we break the cloud cover, and we look down, and there we are, lined up absolutely perfectly with the runway. This guy nailed it because he knew how to work the numbers. And that's exactly the way it's going to work with you on the multifamily accounting. You are going to know how to look at those numbers and know exactly what those numbers mean, all right? By the end of these sessions, you will understand multifamily accounting. When you receive a property package in, you will look at the numbers and know right away what they mean. They will no longer scare you. And if they scare you, just come back to these videos, check your notes. Will have covered virtually everything in these notes. And if I haven't, and you remember this masterclass program, just send us an email to info@multifamilyinvestingacademy.com and we'll take care of you. That's what we're here for. We want to make sure that you align your abilities with your ambitions and you don't screw anything up. We're here for you. Don't screw anything up. We are your saviors. We want to make sure you're doing this all correctly, all right? So I hope this was a good introduction. I hope you now understand exactly where we're going with this particular lesson. It's a long one, folks, I guarantee you, but this is the most important because what's going to happen next month? Oh my gosh, we're going to make offers. We're going to start to write offers. And that's what you need to be doing in this business. I know it's taken a few months to get to this point. I will not rush this. You have to take your time. You have to do it right. But next month, because of what we learned this month, you are going to write offers. Okay? info@multifamilyinvestingacademy.com. If you ever need any help, we're here for you. And I hope you enjoy this lesson because this is definitely the most fun for me. And I'll talk to you soon.